Hello everyone, this is Tribecast, episode 48, and my name is Marina. As I was promised in our Twitter, this episode is released on Saturday. Hope it will be one more reason for you to stay at home, and we're happy to provide you some fun. This week you'll hear the interview with Enrique Montaño explaining what Nordic Startup School is preparing for the new startups attending the third batch. And today we're going to talk a bit more about acceleration programs for startups. As you might remember, last year we already had Mirza Sagdati telling us about Red Brick Accelerator, which is a program for early stage startups, and Tommy Terenti telling us about Nordic Startup School. It's good to watch that programs are developing not only in terms of new coaches and new teams arriving, but also in terms of teams, organizing teams becoming bigger. So first of all, Enrique, may I congratulate you on getting a job at Nordic Startup School as a part of the organizing team. Probably let's introduce you to our listeners before we go more into your job.
All right. So I'm basically working currently in the Nordic Startup School. I started working for Tommy a little bit more than a month ago. And currently the idea that he had is to increase what the Nordic Startup School reach that currently had. He had 1 year of testing. Probably he was here last year talking about the idea. The problem with the startups initially was like 3 months, every Tuesday, startups join and they come and they talk about their problems, and probably they would get some good mentoring, and eventually the best ones would get a trip to the United States where they would meet venture capitalists. The problem here was that many of those startups didn't have the money, or they didn't have enough willpower, let's say, to want to go there. So this was a good problem to solve. That was the main one. There was also the other one that is not interesting enough. Every week you hang out in Tribe Tampere. I mean, Tribe Tampere is a cool place, but every time the same thing as many other accelerators do. It wasn't something that special, So we started tweaking it a little bit. I helped him a little bit, but he basically had the whole idea in place already. So at the current stage, now we have developed three like main products that you could call it. And these are called the Nordic Startup Preschool, the Nordic Startup School, and the Nordic Startup After School. There you go. Everything related to school, right? So what's the preschool so far? This is a concept we're currently working on, and it would take like a full day workshop kind of thing, and this would be all over several cities in Finland. So not only in Tampere, but we can go to Jyväskylä, make a preschool there, make a preschool in Helsinki, make a preschool in Turku. Yeah.
So basically Nordic Startup School becoming an open brand, because in previous batches I know there were teams from Helsinki and, as far as I remember, either Turku or Oulu, or maybe both. Mm-hmm. Anyways, there were teams from outside. Now it's a possibility that you go out as well. Yeah. I remember that someone once asked me, because they saw the Nordic Startup School poster, they're like, is it some kind of an all-Nordic franchise? Because the name is, kind of powerful. So now you're becoming a bit more active, at least on the Finnish stage. But sorry for interruption.
Yeah, no problem. It's good also to have a discussion if possible. Yeah, and the reason why we try to do this is because Helsinki normally only focuses on Helsinki, right? Yeah. And most of the good companies, at the end of the day, they will go to Helsinki. And we're like, okay, let's aim higher than that, Let's not aim at Helsinki, let's aim at the rest of Finland, so we can take from all over the cities.
So let's all good companies go to Tampere, or to Oulu, or to Jyväskylä.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't even have to be Tampere that they end up here, but the thing is that we get them to the school. Mm-hmm. Right now we have one from Stockholm currently. And we had a couple of them that were from Tallinn, but they dropped off, unfortunately. But still, that means that we're starting to reach outside of Finland, which is good. So yeah, that is the preschool. We go there one day, we do this workshop, and the idea is that we would select the best one to go to the school. Mm-hmm. So in total, we would have eventually 10 or 12 to go to the school. The school system has changed this time. We realized that maybe startups, they just compete with each other and they don't collaborate, and this is something we wanted to improve. So now we do once a month, there's these bootcamps, how we call them, or immersion sessions. And basically we go to a weekend, we go to all together to a good place. Everything is included, all the food, all the rooms, everything. So we just go there, we work in the morning. At the end of the day, we reflect on what we have learned. And of course, we eat and drink a little bit. And we go to sauna. And eventually from there, that will be like 3 months. And in those 3 months, there will be like 3 boot camps or immersions. After that, we will choose 3 of those companies, at least. We will invest to go to the US. So in this case, the commitment is there. And they have no excuse to say, hey, we got no money, because they got the money. We just gave it to them. So starting when they go to the US, it starts the after school. That's a concept we're still trying. We're going to do it the first time starting in May. Let's see how it goes. But basically it consists of several trips to the United States and meeting there with venture capitalists. And hopefully we can help the startups that we have chosen and invested in to find the market there.
All right. That definitely sounds like a thing to try. I know that this weekend, the first bootcamp of Nordic Startup School took place. How would you summarize it?
Well, it was the first time we were doing it. So it was, I mean, from the outside, it looked good. Of course, from the inside, it was a little bit chaotic because none of the materials we had been done before. So we had to create it from scratch, right? So we were like literally the night before the bootcamp, we were all like super stressed out, making logos and making presentations and everything. But it was all perfectly done by Friday morning, so that was not an issue.
I mean, that's the startup way.
Exactly. And then we also work with feedback a lot. So at the end of each day, we would send them feedback forms, say, please fill them up, because this is the first time we're doing this. We want to know how to improve the program. So we got a lot of useful feedback. And now we have to go over it for in April, the first week of April, we already have the second bootcamp. So we don't have that much time, but at least this time we already have all the material ready. We already have the feedback forms, the workshop forms, the text. We have the location, the rooms we want in that location, the amount of rooms, the amount of food that we need. We all know that already.
So the temporary bootcamp is done. Can the startups from other cities still apply, or is the application completely closed for this batch?
For this batch, it's already closed. And for this batch, like I mentioned, we will only be selecting 2 or even 3 that we will invest in. After that, the after-school program will continue for them, and then we will open the school, the preschools and the school for the next batch that will be in the autumn.
So if some of our listeners get interested, how can they apply in the autumn, and what are the criteria? I know that some things can change, but...
Yeah, well, I think what you need is a startup that is not in the idea process, like, hey, I have an idea, I want a startup, That's okay. But, I mean, you can go to, for example, RVA for that. Once you are through RVA program and you figure out, you refine your idea, and then you already have like a company set up, you might have some team members already working on the project, you might have your first customer even. That's exactly the type of companies that we would like to have in Nordic Startup School. So if they want to join in, they can do it through the website that we are currently rebranding. So I hope by May should be released a new one with all the information. If not, you can just send us an email to Tommy at Nordic Startup School or Enrique at Nordic Startup School.
All right. In general, when we speak about going to US market, everybody's like, yeah, I'll go to Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So can you open up a bit about what happens in that part of the study process, so to say? Is it only Silicon Valley, or is there more?
We have a little bit of the pieces set up currently. So I cannot tell you in detail, like, we're going to week 1 this, week 2 this, week 1.
Yeah.
We're thinking it's going to be between 3 and 4 weeks, the trip there. Because we think that if you go there for 1 week or 2 weeks, there's no time to do anything, really. Just meet people, you're stressed out. You don't have time to feel the vibe of the cities you visit and the companies and start to build those relationships. You cannot do that in that little short of time. So we're going to visit 2 cities. We're going to go to LA. And we're going to go to Austin, Texas. There we will meet some venture capital firms there that we have already relation with. And the idea is to start the talks between the startups and the VC companies and hopefully that they also get to start contacting their clients in the US market, or potential clients, of course.
All right. Do you already know the day for the demo day of this year?
We don't. Not yet.
So in the planning stage.
Exactly.
So we can check the updates on your website. Do you have any other social media we can follow?
We use mainly Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So you can follow us there to see the latest updates.
All right. And all the teams which are after the bootcamp, which are staying in the program, are they already announced?
There hasn't been the public announcement yet. We want to say either later today or tomorrow morning. We are already doing the phone calls of who's in and who's not in. And I think it's quite sensitive to...
Yeah, so by the time this episode is out, the teams will already know that they're in, or unfortunately not, but they can try again. By the way, do you think that if a team fails an application this year, they can try again in the next batch?
I mean, that they didn't go through in the school doesn't mean that they're bad at all. It's just that it means that within 3 months, the companies need to go from one stage to another stage.
And it's more like not ready, not the right stage.
Exactly. And in this case, they might be more or less on that stage, but we don't see the potential that in 3 months they get from point A to point B.
I think I'm pretty much understanding now what's happening with the Nordic Startup School this year. Thank you very much, Enrique, for having time for this interview. I wish you good luck with the continuation of the study process, so to say. And of course, I will be cheering up for the teams during the process. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dear community, given the current situation with the coronavirus epidemic, these are the measures Tribe Tampere is taking to put the well-being of our community and those around us. Starting from Monday 16th of March till the 31st of March, we will continue monitoring the situation closely and keep applying the needed changes according to the official guidelines. P47 will remain open, but we strongly encourage our community members to make prompt action. Work remotely, work from home. Change your face-to-face meetings, workshops and trainings to online solutions. These affect events also. Startup World Cup Finland and Tribecast will be hosted online, and we will try new methods in online community building. Check event pages for further information. Say goodbye to handshakes. Follow the World Health Organization information and latest guidelines. We're here for you. Reach out to us whenever needed. Stay safe and keep others safe.